Inside the magical realm, a world that was blessed by the gods and protected by the dragons, there was an existence that defied the natural order of the universe, a brain-dead moron called Mash. Throughout his life, he had lived with his father in isolation. But while he was enjoying his peace, Mash broke through the door, apologizing because he forgot whether to push or pull it open. However, he promised that he would fix it, but began smashing the door back, and after pounding it in and out repeatedly, the entire door broke apart. Although Roger had grown used to how useless his son was, he continued to take care of him, without ever revealing to Mash that he was the only one unable to use magic. This was why all of Mash's training was physical, and before Roger left the house, he reminded him once again that he must never venture into the city. So Mash promised that he won't. Well, that was all bullshit. Today was the release of the Goblin Cream Puff, and he wasn't going to live without it. But as he walked around the city and saw everyone using magic, he knew that he could do all of their tricks with his hands. As he reached the bakery, the smell of the cream puffs made him excited, but when he tried paying for his order, all of the coins were bent in half. The baker wondered how that was humanly possible, but Mash took the coins back to fix them, snapping the steel back in place, and the man screamed at what he just witnessed. After handing him his cream puffs, a gust of wind blew his hat off, revealing Mash's face. In that moment, everyone grew afraid of him, as he was the only one without a mark. Meanwhile, a police officer was torturing a disgusting criminal after reading about this year's Divine Visionary, a title granted to the greatest magic users in the realm. Just then, his phone rang, alerting him that there was an unmarked child walking around. While Mash continued wondering why his grandfather never allowed him to leave their cabin, he bumped into this fat-ass dickhead, who threatened to arrest him before throwing his cream puff away. As he kept screaming about his uniform being ruined, Mash used his Giga Chad muscles to rip his shirt off, apologizing and promising to wash his clothes for him. However, Brad Coleman appeared in that moment, realizing that Mash must have been the unmarked child walking around. But before he could question him, Roger stole him away. And as soon as he was gone, Brad realized that this was his chance to finally earn a promotion, casting a magical bird to tail them into the forest. Back inside their cabin, Roger began yelling at Mash for sneaking off, but seeing how broken up he was about it, he decided to only punish him by repeating his morning routine. After Mash agreed and gave him the cream puffs as a gift, he began walking through the door. But Roger already knew how this was going to end, and opened the door to let him out. Once he was gone, he knew that it was only natural for Mash to want to go out, since he was now a teenager. But as he looked outside of his window, he saw the magical bird staring at him, as an explosion went off from the corner of his home. After the dust settled, Brad appeared with his subordinates, wondering where Mash went off to. In the forest, a squirrel felt something was off, and saw Mash playing around with the weights like it's a toy. Although it never knew what weights were, the poor squirrel knew that this creature was the scariest beast in the forest. After finishing his workout in 5 minutes, he forgot if he was supposed to pull or push his door open. But before he would destroy it, he heard Brad's voice from inside, telling Roger that his job was to rid this world from the inferior magicless demons. After all, magic was a gift from the gods, so as he threw Roger away, he told him that his son rejected God's blessings, but promised to spare him if he revealed Mash's location. Even so, Roger would never allow them to know where Mash was, because throughout his life, his family had disowned him for being a failure at using magic, and all of his bosses fired him for being useless. His life would never change, and he ended up on a cliff where he was about to passionately hug the ground. But as he was about to, he heard the voice of an annoying kid crying in the back. When he turned around, he realized that this kid didn't have a mark on its face, and thought that they were alike. As that baby smiled back at him, Roger realized